All right, guys, welcome to the second episode of the Touch and Go Gang News Cycle. So I want to thank everybody for coming on. Got Xander Fallick, Hannah Hardy, Vic Rodriguez, and myself, Thomas Lennon. Thank you for joining on to the podcast. And this whole thing, we just started it and we're like, screw it, just do it. That's my motto. And just talk about news and everything all about CrossFit, which is the sport we all love so much. So
there's been news? Like, what happened?
oh my God, bang. Like for the first like 2 weeks, like right after that first episode we did, like all hell broke loose. Like what happened? It was like the day after. It's like, good Lord. But before we start with that, I have some late breaking news. I am part of the Noble Club. I just bought a pair of Noble shoes. So the tie-dye version. My wife gave me a gift card. So I wanted to try them out.
Nice.
So I like them so far. Like, not bad. So I haven't worked out with them yet, so we'll see what happens.
They just do not fit my feet well. That's all I tell people that. Like, people are like, "Oh, you don't like them?" I'm like, they didn't fit my feet. I'm not against them. They just didn't fit. I'm also just an unadulterated like shoe whore, so I will wear just about anything.
Well, I just want, if I ever go to the CrossFit Games, I just want to be part of the club. Since it's Noble.
You're not going this year?
No, there's no way. My wife. So here's the story. So I haven't seen my parents in like two years roughly because like COVID and stuff like that. My dad's like they're all like super anal because my dad gets like pneumonia like all the time and stuff like that. And like I'm a diabetic and I'm like, so like we don't want you guys to get sick together. So I was like, I have to ask my wife. I'm like, hey, there's like 2 months before this CrossFit thing in Wisconsin. Do you think I can go? And she's like this. You haven't seen your parents in 2 years and you want to go to this CrossFit event? And I'm like,
yeah,
yes.
The source clear. Harry Potter's parents died as a baby.
Yeah. And
so
I was like, okay, I won't go. But I'm my goal this season for next year is to hit Palooza. That's the main, because I've actually heard from other news groups that it's really hard to get in touch with the athletes over there. So, I mean, it's even hard getting podcasts done in there too as well. So it's like, you're just sitting on the sidelines and you may give like, Craig Ritchie a high five. And that's pretty much the gist of your whole experience of the weekend. So I don't think it's really beneficial for me to even go compared to Palooza where everyone doesn't really care.
Yeah. It's more of like the competition is a side piece of everybody having a good time. And then the games is the games is a business, and like this is my livelihood. Palooza happens to have some fitness, but all my friends are there and I can relax.
Yeah. But we'll see. Maybe next year. Who knows? We'll see what happens. But since you're on the top left, Xander, how was your couple of weeks?
Man, it was a blur. So we talked. Oh, I was in Mississippi. Then I came home. Then I went to Pennsylvania for 10 days to see my parents because I hadn't seen them since Christmas. Like, not trying to I just don't go home.
Yeah, I don't go home either, barely. So
I made a lot of country club fitness. It was pretty cool. Like, I was using a rogue squat rack, and like people were like, "What is this guy loading up 3 plates on this?" Like, people do 135 and go quarter squats. Like, I don't know what's going on here.
They're used to the bro splits.
Yeah, they're very much like he's doing. I did a rowing thruster workout, and people were like, "What is he doing? Like, what is going on? He's broken. He's broken the system." And then the best is every day I would go in to look at the rower to warm up. Always put on the 10. First things first, they don't know what they're doing when the rower damper is on a 10.
Mm-hmm. Dude, that's like the typical personal trainer warm up that I used to get. It was like you sat on the rower for 5 minutes, knocked it up to 10, and I was just like, why does it have to be this hard? There's other settings. I could go faster.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't make a difference. It just hurts more.
Yep. So Hannah, how has your past couple of weeks been? I obviously are you just kind of on not vacation mode, but you kind of more at a relaxed state for training wise, and how's school going?
Well, I'm half in a off season phase. So just focusing a lot on technique, gymnastics, progressions, things like that. I also have Grid League. And
right. Yeah.
So I had my first match last weekend, and then I have my second match this upcoming weekend. So we won our first match, which was awesome. We went against pretty much the top team in the South. So
Is it the Palms, right?
it is the Palms.
See, I follow Grid League. I follow you guys.
We got to do a podcast on Grid League because I can't believe it still exists, and two,
Everything.
it's cool, but I don't understand it because it looks great on Instagram, but I don't know anything else about it.
Well, you could listen to Hannah's first podcast with me because she talks all about it, and then Briley Hansen was on my podcast too as well, so we talk about that, and then I have a bunch of other people that were on it too. So
yeah. Briley knows so much more than I do because she's been a part of it for so many years. I mean, this is my third, and I feel like I've been in so many iterations of Grid. I really liked it. I mean, this is actually, I get to actually start the season off with my team. So it was awesome being with them. I did have a nasty fall from the rings. So my knee really hurts right now. But other than that, I mean, I'm just super stoked for our next match because it's against probably the next best team in our division in the North. So it's top two teams go head to head super early in the season. So I'm super stoked to compete this weekend. But I also have 2 board exams the morning before. So the morning.
That's the last one. Congrats, by the way.
Yeah.
yeah, awesome, nice job.
You.
Yeah. So that last competition was at a convention center, right?
Yeah. So it was it had all different sports from. I mean, there was MMA. There was jousting that was randomly there. There's the powerlifting.
Was there kickboxing?
Huh?
Was there kickboxing? I've done it that, those fitness festivals where they put on competitions and have it. Those are fun.
No, and, it was so crazy, and we were the last. We're the last match of the day, so I think by that point everybody was just I mean, they had no choice but to kind of come over and see what are these people doing, which was really cool. And there was also we're right beside the powerlifters, and the powerlifters were just staring at us, which was awesome. I was just hello, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just here to fitness fast, and they're I'm here to do 9 lifts.
That's it.
So, but that was awesome. And I mean, school is school. I'm ready to graduate. I like it. I mean, like you said, I passed part 2 boards, which was awesome. And then I have 2 more board exams Saturday morning. So, we're just cooking there. But other than that, things are good.
Yeah. So are those the last 2 board exams that you have to do, or is there a couple more?
I have one more national board exam that's in November, and then I'll have to take the Georgia law exam at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of on my own time.
Okay. All right.
You say
cool.
law?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So I know what I can do in the state of Georgia, chiropractic wise, and I don't get sued because that's a common thing.
Yes, especially down here.
Okay.
So yeah. So Vic, you were at James Townsend camp. So how was that, and how was the rest of your week going?
Oh man, we could have a whole conversation about this, but the actual TBO Camp Volume 4 was absolutely amazing. So many great athletes, the environment, the culture, just everyone being there. It was just. It's everything that you want in your training each day.
Mm-hmm.
Want to have that vibe of everyone just trying to push, be better, learn more, just always being curious. We had no problem starting up the day. When you go into a regular affiliate class, say, hey guys, time to the workout, get together, and everyone's still dawdling and running around. When we started, everyone had the same mentality. We're here to work. So as soon as hey guys, let's circle up. Boom. It was a swarm. And all right, let's go through warm-ups. No questions. We knew what we needed to do. Okay, listen up, shut up, keep moving. And then also throughout the lifts, throughout the training pieces, ask questions. After, reflect. Okay, now go cool down, go get some food. We'll come back in a couple hours, start another session. The volume in the camp is pretty crazy. But again, it's not stupid volume. It's a healthy amount of volume that you as an athlete have to be honest with yourself and say, hey, what can I do to get the right stimulus? Something we talk about a lot is in training is like, hey, I can do bar muscle ups, but should I be doing 60 this workout? No, okay, do something else. Switch to chest to bar if the bar muscle ups get to be too much. Find a way to keep moving. A big takeaway from the entire camp is that, hey, just because you're not doing everything that the person next to you is doing, it doesn't mean you're getting less of a workout or you're learning less from this camp. A lot of people came in, they had open minds, they were willing to try new things, they were willing to suffer through some of these pieces. Yes, we did the initiation workout. I think Xander knows about it, all that. It's like it's thrusters and burpees.
It's very unpleasant.
Yeah. But fun story about that is I actually got to Iowa on 0 sleep, and I jumped in on the first conditioning piece. Then we went through back squat, we went through snatches, and then we went into that. We took a break, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this workout. It doesn't look so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I got destroyed, but I was already tired. I was overexhausted, and I was like, hey, I'm like, James, man, I got to tap out, man. My body just isn't feeling this right now. But
yeah,
little boot and rally. I kind of came back and we did the next workout, which was cool. But overall, it was a super smooth camp. Everything was on time, which is
very hard to do. Yeah.
Yeah. It is very hard to keep people on task and on pace for these types of workout, for this type of a session.
Mm-hmm.
And that with only a few coaches was flawlessly executed. So
yeah, James
absolutely
runs a great camp. I'm glad you had a good time. I didn't even know you were going until you're there, and I was like, "Oh, he's there! Nice."
Yeah, I saw your Instagram post. I was like, "Oh shit, he's there." Okay, that's cool.
Yeah, not the last time. I'm definitely going to be back. And also, talk about you're looking for a place that's welcoming, that accepts everyone. That's another one of them. The TBO is open to everyone. Everyone is welcome there. You're going to get a great workout. You're going to learn more about yourself, and whatever your goal is, you can achieve it if you decide you want to spend some time there. And that doesn't mean you have to be, a part of TBO training full time. But, James opens those doors to anyone who wants to do some work. And that's it. And if there's one thing that there's one thing that I really want to drive home is that this man cares. He cares about every single person that walks through that door. And I know that, a lot of programs, it will say that every coach cares about every single athlete. And there are programs out there that do. I follow one of them, but James is another one that's up there. And he definitely deserves that. He deserves that recognition to understand, hey, this guy can actually, this coach has the credentials and he has the character and the personality to do it. And I feel like that's been overlooked. And I wouldn't have known had I not actually given it a chance, because no one else was saying it. I heard it from a few people, a few friends around me. I was like, you know what? Let me go figure this out for myself. And spot on. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you know what the crazy thing with James is? He doesn't warm up for his lifts.
James, yeah,
hey.
I've seen it. I've literally been emasculated by a guy. I hit 325. The guy warms up starting at 275, and power cleans 405, and you're just like, what are these jumps? I'm worried about him.
Funniest thing that happened, we were doing squat cleans. I hit 315.
Let's go.
And that was what I was like. I was going for. I was like, I went up and I went to hit 315. I got on my toes a little bit. I dropped. I was like, okay, what did I do? Looked at the video. Okay, I was on my toes a little bit. Let me go do it again. I hit it. Fine. in the pins. Like my butt is literally touching my heels, and I'm just like standing right up. I'm good. I'm like, all right, this is good for the day. I don't want to go any higher. James struts right in, just saunters right up, picks up the bar, no hesitation, boom, 315. Just nice.
Did he power it too? Did he
Oh, he
power
powered it.
Like,
Oh, he
just
powered
like,
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
I was
powered
like,
it.
yep. I was like, I knew it. Oh, I knew it.
I sent him the clip and I was like, James, man, you you just sauntered right over to that bar like you knew. And that barbell's like, oh no, here comes James.
So like, how much of your soul died on the inside when that one happened?
Oh,
Like
all
a
the
lot
time.
of it.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I just thought it was really freaking cool. It's awesome to see other people lift big weight, because when you're actually in the room, it's like that feeling of like, this is possible, you know? And you know, some people, I think an older version of myself would think, oh, this person's bragging or they're just trying to show off or whatnot. And now I think of it as like, no, they're showing you the blueprint. Like it's there. It's within reach. It's not impossible. And those top numbers are going to look different for everyone else just based on the type of athlete you are. But nothing bad about that. So yeah, it was really cool. A lot of cool moments, a lot of big lifts over the weekend.
I saw a couple on Instagram. It was insane.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of talented people out there that, you know, not a lot of people actually hear about, and people are working, people are putting in the time. So that's, and they're doing it clean.
Yeah. So I want to talk about some news tidbits from like the last couple of weeks that you know, we've been kind of talking back and forth on like Instagram and stuff like that. But obviously, the first one I kind of want to talk about is the last chance qualifier. So I mean, obviously, you had Sarah Simeon's daughter and Katrin David's daughter not making it, and there's a couple other like, you know, athletes that didn't make it that I was kind of surprised about. But you know, come to look at who's going to the CrossFit Games and who's not, I think it's like what, like 70% or 60% are like mainly rookies or have only been there twice. So do you think it's time
before or after the drug test? Because I can't even trust that the LCQ people are going to be there.
Yeah, true. No, but I'm just saying for as of right now. So do you think I know Xander, you've been talking about like the new regime is coming in. Do you think this is the year that it's going to be like that?
I think relative to what like the CrossFit Games, like next gen documentary, which is good. I think it's very similar to the old, like they're not recreating a new narrative. I think it's just like, I think they told that story too early. They used the next gen narrative early, and it's going to be great. I'm just like, my question, I'm also just not a huge fan of LCQ. I just really think that those 4 spots, so 2 female, 2 male, those spots should just go back to the semis. And that's just like like, I understand why we're doing it, because it's like the NBA draft lottery when people are pulling the balls out and it's like, oh, I just don't see that they're like, it's more like we went back to quarterfinals and it's like, cool. If you finish like first in the quarterfinals, you should just go to the games.
You know, Brian Friend said something like that as well. Brian Friend was like, you know, we're looking at this last chance qualifier and it's like, there's enough talent in here to make it its own semifinal. Why aren't we doing that? Like, it's about time that we stop like breaking the athletes' backs just to get through. And then the people that are in last chance qualifier, like they get even less time to prepare for the games.
So, and then the thing is, like, what I'm also just like disappointed in is like, cool, so now we have to go drug test these people, right? Well, they already got drug tested actually, because they're all 6, 7, and 8, because they all got drug tested.
They do drug tests 6th through 8th, like at semis. So like they're drug tested, but I mean, I think it's saying like we just need to move the season up, and we can't have 4 weeks of semifinals. If you want the last chance qualifier, I really do like it. It's just having 4 weeks of semifinals play out and then being like, all right, sorry that, you know, the first week has a month more to prepare for the games, has enough time to like actually like recharge and reset. And, you know, if you're in the last chance qualifier, all right, you got like 2 more weeks to try to like kill yourself and then you're probably like so broken that you need to take an early deload for the games. If we just moved the semifinal, I mean, I know Brian's talked about that, move it to 2 weeks. Yeah, it's going to be super jam-packed for 2 weeks trying to figure out what semifinals are going when, and with all the coverage, and even having like the judges available, because I know that they typically use the same pool of judges. So that might also come into play. But in the end, at least like it's a 3-week condensed period, or even 4 weeks if you want to have a break, a 1-week break, and just move the season up. Have semifinals in the middle of May. Like there's no reason for it to go through June.
Yeah, I agree. But the thing is, with like having another like semifinal for like the last chance qualifiers, then these people have to pay like more money to go to this certain area and stuff like that. And some of those people don't have the funds for it, which, sucks. But like, it's, I don't know. I mean, I think they should maybe pull like like the lottery pick, like have like a bunch of people on that list and do something and make them like, be the luck of the draw or something.
My thing is, because the coverage is so, like, one, the coverage is trash, because we're literally just waiting for a leaderboard update. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not going to go back and watch, like, Austin Spencer, Luka Dukic, James Sprague, Matt DeLugos' all separate workouts, alone in a room doing it themselves in a row. Like, it's just not going to happen. Like, I understand what we're trying to do, like, trying to create more media to create more exposure, which is great. But I think we're doing it at the expense of the athletes and their own bodies, where it's like, you can make a better experience putting the spots back in Australia.
Yes.
Because Australia, like, per capita, it's America, then it's Europe, and then it's Australia. And then it's the other, it's the Oceania is what they call it, right? And then it's like the South Africa, we have the South American, we have the African, and the Far East. Forget where like the Middle East gets roped in.
Yeah,
they split up. So it's like it's just not doing right. But then again, like now we're also poking the proverbial, can we just have one CrossFit season and just let it stay that way for 5 years?
Yes.
Like that's also the issue in the back. It's like we're just going to completely just blow up our season again, which I have heard rumblings that this is what may happen again.
I mean, I feel like
at this point we should expect it. So I mean, it's not like it's that big of a deal if it changes. We've dealt with change, for forever at this point.
I'm just more excited. Like, if anybody's like paying attention to these like CrossFit documentaries, is like, how do they not cover leaking workouts for 2 things, all the drug tests, like of all of the like they could actually pull from to make like a cool narrative.
Oh my gosh, they have so much this year. Like they better like have like a whole 30-minute section.
I just want a timeline of like Dave gets fired, leaked workout, leaked before like all semis work or quarters workouts got leaked. It's like, let's just like go through the list of like bad things that have happened.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. At least like we're not gonna see Brooke Wells, hurt herself. I actually had to like slightly close my computer during that part, because seeing it in person and then basically reliving it was probably like the worst.
I'm surprised they put it in the movie. I was just I fast forwarded the 15 seconds on my iPhone, and I was they put the elbow snapping, like, and I was shocked.
No, they put it in the movie. They put it in the movie. I was like, why did you do that?
15-second skip.
Because
I don't know what
sells.
happened in that window.
Yeah, it sells. I mean, it's like it's almost looking at a car accident. Like a lot of people will stare at the car accident because they want to see what happened. But like, and then once they see it, they're like, "Oh!" But like, it'll spark conversation, being like, "Oh, did you see the movie where Brooke Wells hurt her elbow again?" And like showed it. And like, I don't think it's appropriate to do it. But I mean, obviously, it's a way to sell that video to other people to say, "Oh, look at that! Brooke Wells breaking her elbow. You got to see it. You got to see it."
No, it just like broke my heart, and I really hope they reached out to her and said, "Hey, can we like put your dislocation on like display for the world to see?"
They definitely asked. They, knowing Brooke Wells is a darling of CrossFit, and we all love our Katrin David's daughters and our Sarah Sigmund's daughters. They ask. They definitely ask.
No, I would hope so.
But why would Brooke? I'm sorry, but why would Brooke want to have it on the video?
Yeah, like I feel like it was, one of those things where it's like, hey, we're letting you know we're doing this. We didn't ask. That is probably, again, like this is, nobody knows in the background. Because again, it's also like, the thing is, what you sign away is like, I just had to sign up for the media credential. You essentially sign away your rights. The minute you become an athlete, like you pay whatever your $400 is that people are like unaware of, that you pay to go compete at the CrossFit Games,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
which I still think is like, why? Like, why? Like, you've already pulled in every open money, every quarter money, every semi money. It's like, to me, it seems foolish that you've also not increased your payouts, and I don't agree with that too. But it's just like, you're essentially like whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, but they need to make money. So I mean, they'll try to make money over hand and fist, because obviously those new investors put their money into buying CrossFit.
I mean, the turnover, like,
and they probably haven't like made a profit yet, and so they're just like, screw it. We'll take money from anything, anybody, and like, let's go.
But and like my thing is though, so they bought it, but then they all like took leaves of absence or replaced people, and then we just brought back the person they fired. Like, I'm not going down this rabbit hole of just.
Yeah, which is fine. So, so were you guys surprised that Katrin didn't make it? No.
No,
Nope.
I'm surprised she places like as well as she did. Not gonna lie. I'm also I'm actually like kind of surprised on the girls' side. I'm so impressed at Ariel Lowen that I wasn't expecting that, and she just got like a new fan out of me based on that performance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that female firefighter. And that female firefighter too. I forget her. God, what's her name?
Chloe Wilson.
Wilson.
Yeah. She came out of like the woodwork too.
So I think, yeah, like it's a lot of people like, and it's just so tight. It's just like, Katrin's also somebody who seems like she performs better in live competition.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of like the COVID games.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm excited to see what happens. Again, this is all dependent on who actually goes, because nobody knows if we're going to show up, because we're already down to like what is the Brazilian team is like the 6th place.
Yep,
Yeah.
the 6th place team. Yep.
Yeah.
6th place team. I just love the narrative of like failed drug test, declined entirely.
I know.
Decline is just like the best response. I'm just like, yeah, we're just actually not going to go. It's like, you know what? I appreciate you guys.
Screw you guys. Like, I'll go for you guys.
Yeah.
Oh man. When I saw that one, it like broke my heart. I'm like, dang.
Well, this is another section. So just hold those thoughts. So, all right, the next point that came out, I think it was like right after our first podcast. So Daniel Brandon left Underdog. They said it was mutual. So my thing is like, where is she gonna go next? Like in Xander, you had an insight that I had no idea about, that like, some programs actually pay their athletes, and I had no idea that actually happened.
Yeah. So one, super surprising. I think this was probably the biggest, like, actually, like, people failing drug tests are going to continue to happen. Like, the drug test, we'll talk about that later. Her not having, like, not, like, working with, like, that's surprising, because it throws off your training. Unless she's still at the gym, or she had to go find another affiliate in Las Vegas. If she moves, like, there's just nothing here. I would say, like, one, it's all speculation about like where, like what happened. It's like, they're not going to say anything like bad in a public statement. Not one time in the history of like any public statement has anyone like tried to really like kill anybody except for Elon Musk and Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
So like, there's that. And then the thing is like, these like training camps are essentially starting to pay athletes to just come train, right?
Yep.
Like there's athletes out there where it happens. I think but we're also starting to see, I feel like there's a lot of friction in different personalities at these camps now that we're starting to see them like, are they really just falling apart? Because this was the cool thing that started, like, let's say it started 2 years ago because Chandler, Barnhart, Katrin, everybody went to comp train. The Brute one hadn't happened, but Invictus had been stockpiling talent on the West Coast, like they're building out the 25th branch of the Navy SEALs. And it's like, what's going on? So it's like, there's all, like, we started to see it, and then it's just like, I don't think that they're getting the results because Katrin moves back to Iceland, doesn't go to the games. Sarah moves to training think tank, doesn't go to the games. Like, this, like, can help you, but I also think it's like, you're going to get hurt because you may be playing down instead of playing up. But I think top tier, like, choices that she goes to, hard work pays off is probably number one, probability wise. Two, because I just watched the Craig Ritchie video and it seemed like she had a good time. They didn't really put her on the camera all that much, but they referred to they had just split up. And then it's like Brute. And then it's like, I don't really see her going to comp train. She did miss it. I don't know if she would want to do it again. I don't see her going to San Diego to Invictus. And then there's like, don't really know. Like, I feel like she's going to end up training on her own someplace.
Yeah. So, we have this conversation comes up, has been coming up a lot about camps. Like every 6 months, people revisit, is this actually paying off for people? And I think seeing Danielle exit just kind of gives you an idea of like, hey, maybe it's not always sunshine and rainbows at training camps. And it's not because it could, different personalities. Okay, great. So maybe sometimes there's a clash there, but two, you're a competitor. And if you're constantly day in and day out with the same people and you don't get a chance to break away and do your own training alone at some point, you're always going to be comparing. And if you're not at the top, it's going to play with you subconsciously. And it's kind of one of those things that you can't help but do. However, the benefit there is that you can push a little bit harder with people there on certain days. And I think that maybe what's happening with training camps is they're not quite getting the balance of when do we throw everyone together to train and when do we separate them and make sure they do pieces alone. And maybe that's what it is. And it just hasn't got the right formula down yet. And, if we're really going to kind of go down there is, what if people aren't communicating as well as they should be with the coaches and the athletes, and things are left to be assumed or inferred? And that's what causes the real friction. A lack of communication and a lack of set expectations will definitely break those things down. And I can imagine that not in anyone's situation, but if you put it together and there's a lack of communication, there's going to be some sort of tension. And if no one resolves it, or if it gets blown out of proportion, or someone makes an assumption based on the lack of communication, it's going to leave a sour taste in some people's mouths. But as to where Danielle's going to go, I mean, my thing is that I don't think she's really focused on that right now. I think her main focus is, hey, I can't talk about who I'm going to be training with or who I'm going to go with because I need to focus on games training. I've done games training before. I'm going to do it now. And maybe she's got a couple of previous trainers or friends that she can reach out to and train with or have them do something for her. Because if there's anything that you're going to know about a lot of these athletes at the games level is that they have an idea as to who they are in terms of an athlete or a competitor. They know their holes. They have that awareness. So I'm sure that they can try to piecemeal some things together, but they'll probably go back to someone they know or someone that they've talked to recently, and they'll do some training alone. I think it's honestly going to be a good thing for Danielle to just cut out all the noise in this next month, we're 20 days out, she's just gonna hammer tunnel vision. And then by the time she gets to the games, once the games is done and gone, already dusted, okay, great. Now here's the announcement. Here's where I'm gonna go. Here's what I'm gonna do. Or maybe she just says, leave me alone. I'm just gonna keep doing me.
Yeah. So Hannah, do you think she may strive under adversity from like pretty much just like splitting from underdog and then maybe like stepping it up and then maybe podium or doing something like a better placement than she was last year?
I don't know. I think the cool part about Danielle is that she does focus on herself a lot, and she has a great ability of just tuning out what others think, and she knows what's best for her. And I just hope that she finds somebody that is just in her corner there just for her throughout this whole thing, whether it's a coach or even just like a friend, anything like that. And I think Justin was really good for her in that realm. I thought it was really cool seeing that relationship. Obviously, it broke apart, so there was things that we didn't see, but I think she does need someone to just tell her like, hey, you're doing all the right things and you're doing great. Because I think she does, like, she'll have a tendency, even though she knows that she is capable of like being a top 10 games athlete, a top 5 and podium and making the podium one day. I think she just still needs that support. And I think she's trying to find it. And I think she realized that, all right, Justin isn't the one for me. And she needs that support right now. I don't know if she'll announce something unless she like really does think that she really needs to announce that she's going.
I hope she doesn't, because it's going to be like LeBron James level.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. For CrossFit. Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. It's like she has shown that she does well under not great circumstances, or like the COVID thing last year. Like it's shown like this, honestly, like it's a big story for us on the outside. I don't think it's going to really, like, she's like, you're 20 days out. She knows what she needs to work on. She's probably like has a gym, goes, trains, moves on.
Yeah. And like, to be honest, I mean, a couple of days ago, it was shown that she was at the Brooke camp down here. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she stays down there. A lot of time, I mean, the Brooke people don't train together whatsoever. They might have like the same piece like once or twice a week, but they pretty much do their own individual programming. It's just really nice to be around like-minded people, kind of like at TBO. Like at TBO, you can do your own programming. It's not like you have to, follow what everybody else is doing the entire time. So the fact that she can be around incredible games athletes, as well as at least in the Brute camp, she's only by guys. I think that's also going to be really good for her. Like, she has Dallin to train with, and
There's Emma Carey.
Don't
forget about the soft-spoken Emma Carey.
Yes, but she's not going to the games this year. So I think that's like one thing where I think Danielle's going to thrive being with male games athletes and not with their direct competitors, because that's too much tension. And that's why I really like about Matt is that he like has like his male and Jason Hopper, and I mean he has Jake Marconi, but Marconi's also a coach, and he has Mal, and I think the best training partners are like the opposite sex, because they're not your direct competition, but you guys are at the pinnacle of the sport and can go against each other. That's why my best moments in the sport or even in training was when I was back in Virginia with my friend Justin. Like, we would literally duke it out all the time, but because we weren't direct competition, it wasn't like if we lost, it was okay, because it was kind of like, all right, well, it's not like I'm losing to my competition. Granted, like he was my teammate too. So I think she'd thrive better in the Brute camp, at least this year, maybe, until Emma's back, and then until Fee's back in the picture and things like that. I know also, and then Olivia Sulik's down there too. Whereas
I keep forgetting I keep forgetting who's there. Like, they will probably come back. Like, he had a stable of like very qualified people. We're gonna come back to the probably the bigger topic.
No, like I think like they have like awesome people coming down the pipeline, but right now it's, you know, that's probably the best camp to be in right now, 'cause she'd be the only girl to like just, so she could just focus on herself and then go up against Dallin. Whereas at, you know, if she was up in Vermont, I don't know if that's the right headspace she needs right now to compete against Mal.
No, not at all.
Or even around her if they had
I really think she ends up moving and just like has like a coach that is like remote. Like, I don't see her. I don't see like anybody moving to Vermont. Like, and I've met DD, I've met Emma Carey, and I also just can't see those two being in the same room because they could not be more opposite people.
No, they're literally. I kind of agree with you. I really like, she knows what she needs to do. Like, she followed Mayhem. I mean, that's like what like gave her the rise in the first
place. I forgot that exists.
Yeah, but like she did that all alone and she was just fine. And then, but I really, like I said, I really do think she just needs like just that person in her corner, and she just hasn't found that yet.
Yeah, it's gonna be Gabe from Misfit, her coach.
Hey,
oh my God.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Don't.
No. I like Gabe. I like Gabe. Don't. You know.
I love Gabe.
Yeah.
Hey, it's like I would also like. It would be cool, but I also don't see that one happening.
No, I was so kidding. So kidding. So. All right, hey,
don't you try to replace me?
Yeah.
I'm not out here trying to get replaced. We only have one quitter in this group. It wasn't me. I'm not on the outside looking in.
Oh, jeez. Enough. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyways, back to the next story. So we've been talking about this throughout the whole podcast. So far, I think in the past like 72 hours, 10 people have popped on their drug test. Now
drugs are bad. Okay.
So
drugs are bad.
That was my probably one of my favorite video titles right there.
So you definitely got a huge influx of athletes getting popped, but actually this is not like the time that it had the most people popped on a drug test. So in 2018 or 2017, you had 17 people pop from regionals and the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And the games.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, we haven't gotten there yet.
I feel like we're gonna beat it. Like, let's new high score. It's coming. I feel like more people are gonna pop from. More people, I feel like, are gonna end up popping.
Now, do you think the people?
Because I feel like that pop at the games are gonna be like a masters athlete.
Yeah. So do you?
That's where I think the 2017 or 18 athletes, because it was a lot of masters athletes at that time, I think, popped, and team athletes. It wasn't a lot of indies like in 17, because it was like a lot of people popped. Then 18 was really just like, it was Gerard and like a couple people, I think. And then it was like 2020, people just tested positive for COVID. And so no one popped.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing out sound bites.
So yeah, I got so many cuts already. So obviously I think the most recognized one is Phil Toon that got popped. So I've saw his stories. You know, I'm not saying he's a bad guy or anything like that. He's really nice. He's been messaging me, like, not after the drug test, not after testing positive, but like I've had his girlfriend on my podcast too, and both of them are very nice, and like I've had great conversations with them. But it's like, it's supposedly he actually popped from his, like, you know, male pattern baldness medication, and so supposedly. So supposedly supposedly the medication it got banned from WADA a couple of years ago because
like
it would
2009.
Yeah, that's right. So because it was it was able to mask other drugs.
Masking another thing.
Yeah.
So like that was the crazy part. And then he also tested positive. He tested positive for that. Like, but let's go with this here. So you're in Florida. You're like walking into CrossFit Naples. You look at Matt Torres's luscious head of hair, olive oil skin. Like, you want to have that too. Like, you're not going to just go get a prescription from like Four Hymns or Keats and be like, hey, I'm going to go to CrossFit. Like, you want to have that. 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 and like not think that you're gonna be like looking good. Granted, like go with me here. Like I'm like kidding. Like honestly, like let's be honest. Like you would think like if you're taking a prescription for like balding, let's just call it what it is. You're not thinking that's gonna like make you stronger. Like the guy came in strong. Like so it's very unlikely that that's the one that we worry about, right? It's the second piece that really comes in there because like. Even like Rich Froning, like back in the Froning doc, like was taking Rogaine. Like it's not prescription strength, but it's over the counter. So it's like you just gotta. It sucks because I feel like everybody really was excited for Phil too.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was one of those rookies that people were like looking at because of his performance from Wadapalooza, which was the coming out party, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then it was he did great quarters.
Second place.
Or was
Second
it
place
fifth after
Granite,
they
yeah.
opened? Yep, and then did really well at Granite. Like so, like he was trending like as like, oh, this would be a fun guy to watch this year because I don't think anybody else, male wise, rookie was kind of tracking with that kind of like people wanted eyes were on him, right?
I would honestly say the other person. There's two people that I think like rookies that I think that were pretty exciting on the male side. One would be Dallin Pepper from the same camp, and the other was Tudor Magda.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say that name. I knew you were going to say
Well, no,
him.
like you look at. I was at Syndicate, and you watch him at Syndicate, and you're like, this guy is unreal with weights. He has a really good pace with gymnastics. Did he like falter a little bit during a couple of moments, but he made it back up. But holy crap, can he handstand walk? Did you not like if you were at Syndicate, he was like speed walking on his hands. Like that's exciting because if we remember last year during the games, one of the most exciting events was that handstand walk sprint course. And just watching Danielle run away with it. And I don't know, those are the only, I mean, if you really we're talking about like exciting for rookies who are in the games, those are the three. I don't think there's really
now
anyone.
No, yeah. Like female wise, I'd have to go look at like the games leaderboard. Like, but again, back to the drug, like that sucks. So Phil was the individual. So if I'm looking at the list, right, that we built. So then we had Nasser Alruwahe. Double check my pronunciation on that. From the Far East Regional. Never heard of him.
I mean, have you seen him?
He's massive.
No. Is he like...
Oh.
Okay. Well, but the problem is like people like, so I also hear this a lot from outside the sport. It's like, oh, well, they must be on something because that female's like got really lean and really good abs. It's like, people are naturally lean. People eat like more carbs because you're working out more and you can like really look good doing it that way. People just don't believe it because most people are conditioned to the bodybuilding style of competing.
Mm-hmm.
So so we got him. We had Pedro Martins. Didn't know him from Copa Sur, so the South American semi. And then this guy who's a complete scumbag piece of shit. And I'm speaking only for myself, Nick Joyal. But he also was the only person who just copped to, I owned it, which honestly, of all the people, at least he owned it. Like, the reason I don't like him that much is because we all have met or talked to Austin Spencer, and he took the shine for qualifying for the games in the moment in front of your family and your friends and your coaches and your wife from that, and like found out like while he was doing some like off-season piece probably.
And
like, when that one came
last
out.
chance qualifier.
And like, so he's already put himself through tests. So like going back to the LCQ, why that doesn't make sense. It's like, just let the drug tests kind of develop and throw this LCQ spots back to Australia.
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, but like the thing was Nick, like you said, like he admitted, which is awesome. And, you know, like in a sense, like, yeah, like Phil did too. Phil also like didn't, like his drug test didn't test positive for what his male pattern baldness was, like his like masking agent. So like that's like a whole story in itself. But
he's not popping. I was listening to Hiller about this, and he had a doctor on yesterday, and he's not truly popping for finasteride. Finasteride is the masking agent, and what it's saying is what he's really popping for is his testosterone to estrogen level is 5.25, and that hair loss doesn't cause that.
But like a finasteride is a 5-alpha reductase inhibitor, which means like it doesn't, like testosterone just like stays in your body. Like that's the enzyme that converts it to its inactive form. So like your testosterone level should be higher. But like the thing with Nick, like I said, like it's awesome that he admitted it. Kind of like the Toby guy after he said like, oh, I had a contaminated supplement. And then when his B sample came back, he's like, oh yeah, I did take it. At least he admitted it.
I hate that more than like I respect Nick more than I respect the guy who says sorry because he got caught. He tried to play it off, and then he's like, that's like every irresponsible kid who goes, oh, I didn't take the last cookie. And then, well, why are there crumbs in your pocket? You're right, Mom. I did. I took the last cookie. I'm sorry. Can you forgive me now? Like, no, man, that's child stuff. We're
like,
adults.
Yeah,
man.
like, and like that's kind of where these things come down to, right? Is like what, like who owns it? Like, and again, like we talked about it on the last podcast, where it's like, cool. So like, there are tainted supplements. You can't say there aren't, but like so you're telling me you bulk ordered 6 months worth of your protein powders, and you're telling me that's why you tested? Like, GTFO, man. Like, don't even try to come around here with that. Like, this is like, it's a possibility, but at the end of the day, it's like, come on, like, you took it. Stop trying to become a 2-year ban person, because nobody, like, Ricky took his 4.
Right.
Like, Ricky took his 4 and came back, right? Like, granted, this is if he popped at the games, and that would just like absolutely just crush everybody's like dreams and hopes. And I 100% doubt he's taking anything now. But it's just like, come on, like, get out of here. Like, with all this, like, you need to own it, because again, like, there's like apparently like Frazier was on Joe Rogan 2 years ago talking about this. Like, there's a lawyer who handles all these, and there's like 7 excuses. Yep. One of which is like, oh, I was blowing my boyfriend and he came in my mouth, and therefore I tested positive.
I just like, want to know like
from the
how
1980s.
you made that
Still
story.
trying to figure out why that was the one that you chose. Of all of the excuses, is like that's the one we're going with.
It's new.
Power to you.
No one has heard of it yet. Someone could buy it, you know?
A hell of a story.
Yeah, well, I remember
60% of the time it works every time.
So I remember Emily Abbott, when she got popped, she said that her boyfriend, or her fiance at the time, was taking an illegal substance, and was like sublingual, like underneath the tongue, and supposedly they would, like, right before they went to bed, and so he would give her a kiss, and that's how she got popped. But like, it was like the amount that was in her system was like a micro fraction of like,
so she
elevated.
Got it from cooties. Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know if I believe that. I mean, I think Emily Abbott's like the most well-known female that got popped.
She's getting all that.
Yeah, it was only the kiss.
It was only the kiss under the tongue. You get right in there. Like, come on, man. That's like a full-on. She's a Dyson vacuum kisser.
They sleep in the same bed. They're only kissing, guys. Strictly first base kind of stuff.
All right, we're trying to keep this PC, right?
Like,
PC, PG.
I know, but like the worst part is like, because there's so many positive tests before the games. One, we could probably say the testing's getting better, right? Like, that's one thing that nobody's really mentioning, is like, so the testing's getting better is the first thing, but the second thing is, it's like, it makes all these positive tests make our sport look bad. And then we essentially get lumped back into the bodybuilding category, which is really a completely different competition. Because people are like, oh, CrossFit's like bodybuilding. You just take a bunch of roids and you like now move like thrusters up and down. Like, you have a 90-second Fran time and you're rowing 125s in the middle of a 20-minute AMRAP. It's like, it's not a thing. But like, that's how we get lumped in, and it makes the entire sport look bad, when I guess I'm the person who's thinking this be better than it is. It's like, I want to say the sport's better than it is, right? Like, I'm probably naive saying this, but I would like to see that the sport is cleaner than it is. We just have too many tests to create the narrative that, no, we're a clean sport.
So, yeah, but I think, well, sorry, Vic.
No, you go on.
I I mean, I think this is what we need. I mean, in a sense of, all right, the athletes know testing's getting better. So it's either they have to like actually double down on whatever doping they want to do, or don't do it and just work hard. And if they don't make it, just know they don't make it. They're not good enough. And it's okay because they at least put forth the effort. But those are like the only two choices you have at that point.
So what I was actually going to go in and say about this is I've been fielding some, chats and conversations like on the back end. And surprisingly, what I've been hearing is this is something that's prevalent with people who don't see themselves as games athletes. And this is the stupidity, because we can get into the next part of what we heard on today, but people who don't think they're going to make the games are still willingly juicing just because to do local comps. And
Like,
you're hearing that and it's like, you're risking your life and health for what?
$200 for a first place prize.
A bag
like,
of coffee.
Or like, to just kind of pivot off your point, is like, you're doing this for like what? IG clout? Like, kick rocks, dude. Like, or all of you, like even the females, like the only like one like person that I'm actually kind of just sidelining is that one female who might actually have a legal chance because her form was marked wrong. Again, her team's not going, but like she's claiming like she was like her form was marked wrong. Like I'll give you that one, but like you're doing this, like you're not going anywhere. You're trying to get more followers on Instagram so that way you can shove me your 15% bulk powder protein discount code that I'm not going to use anyways because you tested positive. Like, get out of here. Like, it's frustrating because there's so many athletes behind them. Like, so we take 120 in North America, 121 to 160, even 175 because there's probably some team team athletes in there, right? Like, you're just hurting everybody else. Like, you're essentially like in scumbag status to an entire population of fitness.
It's a strange thing that like you understand that the psyche around some of these people is they need to win no matter what the cost is and no matter what the prize is. They just want the W, or they want to feel like they belong. And the fact that they can't do it naturally hurts them so much that they would risk their own health just so they can say that they do fit. I mean, I guess it's the same thing as someone RXing a workout that they should scale, but now this is to the extreme level where like, I don't want to look bad, so I'm going to take steroids, I'm going to take performance enhancing drugs just so I can look decent in my affiliate class. It's warped. It's absolutely warped. And the same people, and that's the same mentality that you would say to have like with team athletes. It's like the payout at top is 100,000. And guess what? You're not winning. You're not beating the teams that are clean. It's like, I'm sorry, you're not doing it.
Like,
and you're taking it
you're
for
not
nothing.
like there's, yeah, and it comes back to like a lot of people don't understand like the economics of the sport. So even if you're the first place team, Rich is still splitting that prize money 4 ways. Like, sorry, that's on the team, only on the team. And there's nothing wrong with going team because it's pretty freaking cool. We have somebody on this chat right now that was on a team last year. And so, and potentially coaching a game team this year because
I'm
her team
coach.
competed clean.
Give me that. I'm going to bring a whistle out there.
What is your whistle going to do? Like Justin Berg and Boz are going to kick you off the field ASAP. Then you're going to be joining me on the media sidelines.
I'm fine with that.
So are you gonna have a radio with you, like Ben Bergeron? He just talks to the radio and records stuff.
No, I don't. I have no clue what I'm going to do.
I think he stopped that, by the way.
Yeah, I'm just joking. I heard that from somebody on my latest podcast. So Brendan Schneider, he told me about it. So.
Oh my gosh.
He had one. I remember because I saw the like I've seen it. I've seen the videos, and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Cell phones have gotten better.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely not going to do that. But I mean, our coach last year, like during our run handstand walk, would literally yell our mile pace time and like our split times, and would follow us around the venue. Granted, he ran faster than us, so that's going to be interesting. But I don't know. I'm just going to chill out with, all the big dogs and then just, watch.
Yeah, it's going to be you
Red
just rubbing shoulder to shoulder with Justin Kotler, Benny Burge, Jay Martin, Drew Crandall,
Snyder,
Sherb,
guy
Brendan Snyder, and Michelle Laton.
Mhm.
Man, like Brendan Snyder, what a glow up. I'm so happy for him. Like super big shout out to our boy. Like also was on the CrossFit Games, Miles to Madison. I don't think he actually, he was on camera because he was standing right behind Michelle for a very long time, but he didn't say a word. It was great.
He wasn't allowed to. He wasn't allowed to.
Yeah, he was like, he understood his role. Like it's like The Rock says, know your role, shut your mouth.
Perfect. Oh my gosh.
Executed it perfectly.
Love the dude. Oh man. Yeah, but no, coaching's gonna be fun. I have no clue how we even got sidetracked to this.
Okay, but so obviously the Copa Sur, they had like the 5 teams. Nick canceled themselves out because of like 2 drug positives, and then like the other one tested positive, and then the other team just canceled. And like, well, we're good. We're not going to go. It's just it's honestly, insane.
It's comedic. Like that one is just comedic of like how far down you're going, and it's like, what's the limit? Like what? Like now we're asking questions of like, where's the line? Because it's like if everybody just like kind of pops, and then everybody that's 398 places ahead of me on the quarterfinals leaderboard, I can technically become the games athlete this year.
Which is crazy.
Which is like, but it's just it's not a good look. I think we can all agree, not a good look for CrossFit right now.
Okay, so over under, do you think 5 more people are going to get? Do you think we're going to beat that record in 2017 of 17 people after the CrossFit Games? Do you think we're going to even like go over that mark?
Yeah,
it's going to be under. It's going to be under, and it's going to be 3. Probably 3 more will pop.
No, we have the entire masters category.
Oh.
That's
like you got like it's the masters. Like, that's where I'm betting the masters is where like a lot of those things, because no teen athlete is like taking any of this stuff because one, their parents aren't buying it for them.
Listen, if a teen athlete gets caught, that parent better get charged.
I hope somebody I'm not lying. Yeah, that's. But like I want to say like one, always bet the over, and 2, like I think it's gonna end up like coming in at 6. Like it's coming in at 6. Just like you always gotta like. Sometimes it's fun to bet the unders, but you're just not 10 out of 10 not having a good time.
Yeah. I mean, I think after the games is over, you're gonna have a couple more athletes pop, like the elite athletes, and obviously the masters. I don't think any, like we said, any teens. I don't know, because it's like you think it's gonna be over, and then the next day someone else pops or some other team member pops, and it's just like, when is this shit gonna end? It's part of my French.
I'm sticking to 3.
It's a kid show. Come on, Tom.
I know. Sorry. Yeah. It has the E for explicit on here, so.
Yeah. But it's just one of those things where it's like, it's just gonna like, because the thing is like once you get to the games, they like, because everybody's already tested because they got tested at semis, right? Mm-hmm. They don't test everybody that shows up.
No.
So technically, somebody's probably taken something.
Mm-hmm.
Because on the exponential scale of like something going on, like somebody's taken something, maybe.
Yeah.
It's not somebody at the top. I don't think it's the top guys. I want to say it's somebody that's getting cut between 21 and 30.
Yeah, and that's typically what happens too. It's right around that mark.
They're gonna.
That's really the work part. It's not someone at the top. It's always that. It's like a straggler who's just trying to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's also like the Nick Joyal effect. It's like he took too much on Friday, he stopped taking it Saturday, and then he took half as much as Fridays so he could actually qualify for the games, right? I'm really just driving that one right in the grave.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's like you talked about Austin Spencer, like, he didn't get the chance to, and like the other athletes too, especially for the Granite Games that, I forget his name. Nick Matthew. Like they didn't get the chance to be on top of this podium. And I know for Austin, he's been grinding for, like since 2012. And I remember like those early videos that he was not the way he is now. I mean, he's busted his ass just to get to where he's at right now, which is unreal. And just to see, and I listened to him. He was on the Savant podcast with the one that's recently just came out, and he's like, he doesn't really care. He just cares more about just going to the games. But it's like, yeah, but you're missing a whole part of like you being up there with your wife, and you both celebrate and all that stuff. I mean, that
I
should
feel
be
like we all feel that for him, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like because we all know Austin, and it's like Austin's all about the work. He's not about like the glory.
Yeah.
Like that's just not his MO. And it's like, I think we're all like you deserve that shine. Like you earned it. And that's what kills all of us and everybody else, because we all feel for him. Like, because it's like the Joyal stole it from him. That's what, unfortunately, like we're now looped, because you have to loop Toon in, because Toon took it from Nick. And like Nick has a cool story, even though he wears half a t-shirt, not a crop top, like everybody tries to say. He wears half a t-shirt. Like it's cut specifically too far. But I'm happy for those guys because they worked their butt off. And I remember seeing Nick at 21 Granite games before and it's just getting just hurt like that. Cause I think he was very close on the line.
He literally lost to Mertens.
He's another guy. Yeah, he lost to Mertens both times. And it's just it's so sad. And it's just frustrating because it's like, you're losing that. Like you earned it. Like he's super close to home. So it's like, I don't know the guy, but it's very close to like the Austin effect where it's like, that stinks.
Yeah.
Man.
But I think in a sense, like we said about Austin, I mean, yeah, I think it's just like the fans really that are like the people who care about him that are sad that he missed out on that moment. But I think even Austin brought this up, like, what if this was the games, So it's like, all right, cool. It's like, all right, yeah, I lost it at semifinals, but I still get to go to the CrossFit games. And it's like the same thing for Nick. I think he's one that's like, he would still be doing this even if the games were canceled tomorrow. So yeah, he didn't get that moment at Granite Games in front of his friends and family because he literally lives like 20 or 30 minutes away from the venue. But he gets to experience the CrossFit Games now. And it's still pretty much a hometown crowd because Wisconsin is Minnesota and Minnesota is Wisconsin. So
some people might get offended.
There's somebody
from that
out
comment.
there.
Yes. I'm sorry. I'm
the
sorry.
Land of 1,000 Lakes is about to come at you with all of their internet trolling. Like
I
the
am
Bay
sorry.
Hive, Taylor
anything
Swifties.
that like literally those states melt together. If you're not on the East Coast, you're probably like, and then like Texas or California, you're probably all like one area conglomerate to me.
I feel insulted. I am insulted.
Oklahoma is Texas.
Just because I live in the plains of like the central U.S. and this essentially could be
Oklahoma is
Iowa,
bad Texas.
Missouri, Nebraska,
in the heart
Kansas.
of Texas.
You want to live in Texas. I just lumped
I want to live
Oklahoma
anywhere.
into Texas.
Like, let's just call it what it is.
All right, guys. Let's. So we're gonna wrap it up a little bit. So we're gonna do like a kind of like a final thought. So Xander, let's have, since you're on the top left, let's have you get your final thoughts and then kind of go all the way around.
Okay. So one, it's just like, I don't think we're done with people popping. I think we're still going to see another positive or two tests before the games. Like, I think there's a chance. And it's going to be fun to see. Like, I'm more excited to see what happens after the games and how I think there's going to be a lot of athletes changing up their programming again. I think there's like that's coming.
Okay.
And the Tia Claire Toomey retirement tour. So that'll be fun.
Okay. All right, Hannah, you're up.
I'm excited for the CrossFit Games. We kind of mentioned at the beginning of this episode, there's so many rookies coming in. It's the 2014 CrossFit Games again. So I'm very excited to see what happens. And to be honest, even though there's so many people testing positive for drugs, I mean, this is what's needed to make a positive change in the sport. And, no one is an advocate for drugs here. So at some point we need this light shown on us so we can finally make a change. So And I just hope that even with all the changes like throughout the season, like the games are what, are the pinnacle that bring this, like the community together again. So I'm excited for, what's coming up in the next few weeks.
All right. Vic, what you got?
Yeah, man. No, I think everyone knows. Everyone feels the same way here. We're going to see some more tests. What I'm excited, what I think may happen is we're going to get a little more strict on testing. A lot of athletes out there have spoken their mind about what stricter testing could look like or what they should be looking to do. And I think that's fair. I think that what's being proposed is not outside of the realm of possibility, even with finances being included. But I'm also still excited for the CrossFit Games. I'm going to be there, so it's my first time going. So we're going to have it's going to be a good time, regardless of the smoke or the clouds around it with these tests, because there are still people out there that are competing that are clean. So I think we need to make sure that we remember that as well, that people are making mistakes, but there's people that aren't making mistakes and they're still doing really well. And that's the real 1% that actually deserve to be there. So let's not
CrossFit leaks the workouts.
What's that?
Yeah. Don't leak the
CrossFit
workouts.
leaks all the workouts.
Oh my God.
Someone
we are,
guesses
at this
the
point, like,
URL.
we're just
Yeah.
like somebody just like left the Google Cloud Drive open. It's like, really, guys? Like, really?
All right. So my final thoughts. Obviously, we're talking about people popping. I think maybe a couple more people are going to pop. We were talking about actually, Xander, with one of your comments about how people in like that are not in the CrossFit space don't really understand like how CrossFit works. Exhibit A, my kipping pull-up post I just posted on Instagram. It's amazing how many people don't really understand what's the difference between a regular pull-up and a kipping pull-up. And yeah, so other than that, I do think the CrossFit Games is going to be a great one this year, hopefully, because I know Dave's he's not programming, but at least he may have some say into some of the workouts or maybe some of where the venue is set up and stuff. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. And obviously we'll probably definitely do another podcast before the game starts so we can kind of ramp up and see what else, what other CrossFit damage control is CrossFit's doing. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm excited. Their damage control hasn't been great so far this year, so excited to see what they put out there.
Yeah. All right, guys, touch and go gang out.
Such a good time.